world. It's time for the Dutcher Snedeker podcast, brought to you in part by Dutcher Snedeker. That's me. If you didn't make that connection from the thumbnail, that's fine. I know I look so radically different. Profile-wise, maybe with the headphones. Either way, I've got a couple things I want to talk about today. As you can tell by the title, work's been coming back, baby, and it's a lot. But it's, it comes with the excitement of future success coming from the work starting back up right now. So without further ado, I have to start talking to you because I have another podcast very soon. Like I need to do it and then just switch right over. So, what does the title mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I got a gold chain with a bad name. Love my baby, don't love my brain. Got a gold chain with a bad name. Love my baby, don't love my brain. No, no. I'm sure that was very weird to hear. If you don't follow MonoNeon, go do it. He just put out a new album called Basquiat and Skittles, which is a quote that Eddie Murphy, of all people, said about MonoNeon. I think I'm going to play a segment of the interview. This is a first for the podcast. I'm improvising this stuff because I just played one of the songs. It's called "I Got a Gold Chain with a Bad Name." And I'll teach it to you in a second. But look at the clip. Jimmy Kimmel.
A guy named MonoNeon, who, for those who don't know, and most people probably don't, is an unbelievably talented bass player who, like, among other things, plays...
He's not just a bass player. He's like this. He's a bass player, and he's Basquiat and Skittles.
See what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like that.
He's unbelievable.
Like so simple, but just that recognition from someone like Eddie Murphy, like that's huge. Because MonoNeon's played with he's played with Prince. Like he was one of the last people to play and record with Prince. He plays in Ghost Note, a phenomenal funk fusion band that started with the percussionists from Snarky Puppy kind of making their own side project. And after their first album, they were like, what if we made this into a band? And it's a killer band. So one of my favorite bands out there right now, ever. Like just the combination of just stellar musicianship and just killer players, great people. I've met them, just working their shows at Founders, and they were super nice when they came to Elevation with Lettuce, like just great people. I'm rooting for them every chance I get. But yeah, MonoNeon. If you want to play that song, it's pretty straightforward. There's this E flat, E flat, B flat, E flat, and then it goes up a step to F, C, and F. And the top, that's the left hand. And then the right hand, after you do the E flat, B flat, E flat, you play those two. So it's like an E flat sus7, a quartal harmony, for those of you who might understand those type of terms better. A chord built on fourths, E flat, A flat, D flat. And then it hits down to a voicing that fits within an E flat minor 7 chord. So D flat, G flat, and B flat over top of this E flat. So very simple harmony. And I think the next one is just you're playing the F, C, and F, and you have E flat, G, B flat, and then you move that whole shape down a third to C, to like a root position C minor triad. So C, E flat, and G. And then the verses are A flat dominant 7, and I'm doing the little B to C, that kind of like scoop up to the third, and then just hitting on the E flat dominant 7. But it's a great tune. It's just so catchy, and that drum beat, the drum beat in the tune is like do do catch do do catch do 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 catch do, like it's a very like almost like, you know, like watching the drummer Retro PMOS play it. You know, it has that sort of like, it's like an engine almost. It just keeps moving even during like like even during those breaks. It's just, it keeps the song grooving. And it features Steve Arrington, who was on the last Thundercat record, I believe, on a tune. I can't remember. It might have been, oh, what was it? It might have been the tune he did with Steve Lacy. Not Dragon Ball Durag. It'll come to me. It's a, you know, go look up Thundercat's latest record. It is what it is. He's on that record too, Steve Arrington. But I mentioned this, you know, regarding the title, I've got to go to work. There's a tune that I've been listening to that it was one of the first singles off of Nigel Hall's upcoming record, where he basically just hired Butcher Brown to be his studio band and just made a record with them. And the singles that have come out so far are sweet. And Gotta Go to Work is one of them. And it's a song that, you know, it's like whatever comes up in his life, he's got to go to work. You know, he'd love to stay with you all night, baby, or he'd love to go do this thing on the weekend, or he'd love to visit this spot, but he's got to go to work. And, you know, it's kind of like a funky, you know, it doesn't have too deep of a meaning, but you can ascribe meaning to it. I think I'm using that right, ascribe. I took it as, for me, how it resonates with my life. I'm getting back into that talking point. I often tell people that I can't do a lot of things on the weekends because that's what I work. And, you know, it's contrary to what most people do. Most people work weekdays and then have the weekends off, whereas I tend to have certain weekdays totally free. You know, Monday through Thursday on average. And I say free as in I'm free to basically fill it up with something. Like today was such a boring day. You know, I caught up on E3 for all you video game folks out there, E3 2021, all virtual. I was watching Kind of Funny's live panel reaction coverage and enjoying some of the, you know, the camaraderie they have. I've been following them since the company started. So it's cool, you know, to check in with those dudes and hear kind of a, you know, live reactions, semi-podcasty, just, you know, stuff to put on in the background. But I was working on promo materials and scheduling posts for some upcoming shows, which is why I kept thinking I gotta go to work. You know, like I basically have my calendar filled out until the middle of October, and then there are select scheduled things in November and December. And then there's still even more things that we're trying, you know, to plan out for the rest of the year. Recording sessions, album releases with certain groups, you know, holiday shows. Like it's wild that the music industry kind of just came back. At full strength? No. At full operating capacity? No. At, you know, full uninterrupted, unbridled scheduling? No, not across the board. It's been varied. It's been messy. It's been a lot of people getting gigs at different times. Some people booked months in advance. A lot of people are just like, tomorrow when this airs, or actually today when I'm recording this. It's not next Monday. It's this current Monday when I'm recording it. Restaurants are allowed to operate maskless again. So we're very close to some sort of normalcy. I don't know anything else. I can't say where or when I'm going to be booked other than, the stuff that's already scheduled. I'm not even in charge of booking anymore for the main group I focus on. I passed it along. And now I'm just focused on promo. So I'm looking at, promo, social media, assisting with booking still in some capacity. But, it's interesting to have to think a year out now again, because last year we didn't know anything. We didn't there was a chance of a timeline for a vaccine. There was, work that kept getting 4 months from now it should be good, and then all that stuff gets pushed, and then we should probably be able to get back at it at the end of the year, and then of course it didn't happen, and then 6 months in, now we're just in Michigan at least starting to operate without masks as vaccines have rolled out, and now work is coming back. It's coming back to musicians. It's coming back to sound engineers and hospitality people and doormen and bartenders and promoters, booking agents, other marketing people. The engine of the music industry is it's like trying to start a car that you haven't really driven that much, and you can kind of hear it takes a second longer to turn over. I might need to assess what's going on and really take stock. And that's where I'm at too. I see my busy schedule as an opportunity to use the rest of this year to get readjusted to a version of the life I had pre-pandemic. Now, I say a version because let's talk about it. What if I just did this all okay, we're going to talk about it here on the Dutcher Snedeker podcast. Let's talk about it. It's just so groovy. But as the rest of the year is filling up, I'm still not at full operating strength in terms of being more on top of my emails, still getting back into that habit, still getting back into knowing I have to be somewhere on weekends now again. It used to just be I might, go see someone, or I might just stay home. I had choices. Now it's just all right, you're working again, so make the money. I want to get a Nord by the end of the summer. I'm kind of pricing out what I want to get. I was thinking of getting a stage 3, but it's just too heavy and it's too bulky, and it's for what I need for the road. I need something different. I need a 73 compact, with waterfall keys, something that's the flexible gig machine, where it's smaller, it fits in my car easier, it's got a lot of great sounds, easy access controls, all that. But I say a version in terms of getting back into work, a version going forward that is more conscious of my humanity. Now, let me just explain something to you real quick. For those of you who think that the music industry is full of, these people who have nebulous ideas or lofty, concepts or weird whatevers. Yes, there are those people who think in the clouds and they don't know how to tangibly make something into a release or art or something. But most people, they're working hard. They're grinding. They're putting in a lot of hours. They're putting in a lot of a lot of emotional ups and downs. Music. I mentioned the other day to a friend that music school it's like you are just this little piece of meat, and then music school is like a tenderizing hammer that's way too big, and you just get used to it, and then you become, numb to the impact. So the more you're performing, the more you're doing stuff, the more you get put in uncomfortable situations and have to rise to the occasion. The easier the rest of life becomes. There will never be anything as stressful as playing for a panel of judges, not even judges, a faculty that know what I'm up to and know the ins and outs of what I'm performing. There will never be, there are audience people who are like, oh, that reminded me of that recording from 1952 where they did it. And you're like, cool, that's great. I haven't heard that. I'll go check it out. Every music's all derivative. But yeah, if you don't have that, then the work you do, it feels that much more personal when you get rejection, or you feel like your wheels are spinning, or you're not making an impact. You don't know what more you can do or what more you want to do. The thing you have to realize is that you just have to keep doing it, because there are so many examples of people who, if they had just put in the work, they would have seen the results, and they gave up just before they were going to hit some sort of next tier or next plateau or not plateau, like the next rung on the ladder. Sure, music is not a corporate ladder. Like, you don't start as like, oh, well, you're the local band, and then you're gonna, in 5 years you'll get promoted to regional act, and then in another 5 years you'll be a nationally touring sensation. It's like, no, some people blow up a lot sooner. Like the Myron Elkins. If you go look up Myron Elkins, he's this young dude, put together a band. It's done. I've seen his Dogtown stuff. I know he plays shows around the area. I haven't really met him yet, just because, we're age difference is just enough where we're not in the same shows all the time. And now he's signed to William Morris Entertainment, and he's opening festivals that are like the Pilgrimage Fest with Dave Matthews Band in Khruangbin, and like there's a festival with like ZZ Top on it and some other country stars and rock and blues and stuff, which is cool. Like, it's cool that he's doing all that. It's just so interesting because that's not normally how things happen. Like Billy Strings, he had a kind of a trajectory. He made his impact on the scene. He built a fan base. They were diehard, loyal fans. And then when he was able to make that leap, he had the band, he had the tunes, he had the experience, he had the confidence, he had the personality. And it's just, building off of that. But, Myron Elkins, I don't know how many people he knows, but necessarily, well, I don't know how many people he knows, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what I know about him or what other people have seen him do. He's obviously got some sort of connection, or he's made an impact on the right people, and that's how he's getting elevated. I had a friend who said, like, oh, well, sometimes those festivals give a shot to smaller bands. And I'm like, I don't think you realize how insane it is. He's like 21. I've only known about him for like a year and a half, 2 years maybe. And he's making that jump to national festivals already. It doesn't matter, like, he's early in the day. His name's on that bill. The only thing people care about, if I'm going to get out of my soapbox here for a second. If you don't think promotion is important, shut up. Because so many people base their decisions on what they see. They just go like, oh, wow, that guy's next to that guy. I want to go see both of them. And that's literally all they think about. They go like, oh, wow, Tame Impala and Dua Lipa are at the same festival. And there might be 100 other bands, but they go like, wow, Dua Lipa. And they spend their money just to see Dua Lipa. And maybe the rest of the day they're just eating cotton candy and sitting in a hot parking lot waiting for Dua Lipa. But the fact that somebody put together a package and some graphics and some assets and all these things to tell people that Dua Lipa is on the same festival as Tame Impala or whatever, like, it's optics. Like, someone's going to see that Myron Elkins was, on a bill with Dave Matthews. Doesn't matter if they ever even meet. It's just the fact that they're in the same list of people. that's immediately going to improve a new fan's opinion of them because they'll be like, wow, this guy's already playing these big festivals. And then two, it's going to get certain people who see him as a younger artist who are like, huh, this guy's already signed to William Morris? Like, I wonder, how did I miss this guy? You know, the people in the region, the tastemakers, the producers, the booking company, you know, William Morris, you can't get any better than William Morris, honestly. Like, that's a big entertainment brand. One of the first entertainment brands in the country. So, yeah, I just say that because sometimes people are just like, oh, I don't really, you know, people will find out. It's like, no, people, or like when they, you know, a band gets an opportunity, and it's like to have the names next to each other, that's enough for some people to just invest their time and dollars in. Yeah, it's crazy. So I, you know, back to saying I gotta go to work. I do have to go to work. Not just these weekend gigs that I'm booking, but more, you know, like planning out each day in some capacity, coming out here more, doing more. Because for a couple months, I was only doing a couple times a week because of, you know, just this, what I needed this space for. But now I need to come out here more often because it keeps the engine of progress moving. If I have this office that I can zone into, do some work, go home. Maybe I do some more work at home, but, and again, I don't even think I brought up, you know, I'm all over the place today, but, I can't go and do the same grind that I was doing earlier because what did that lead me to? A lot of bad habits, you know, varying quality of sleep. I topped out at like I think it was 306. I just clocked in under 280, so I'm on the way down. But, and that's not to, you know, it's not fat shaming. I'm just saying, like, that's my progress right now. I know I need to lose, you know, X amount of weight so I can, you know, move more equipment, sleep better, feel healthier, have the energy to do this job that is very demanding if you want it to be. You could be, you know, just some nobody like enjoying music, and that's fine. Music has intrinsic value. Some people don't seek fame. Some people don't seek, you know, a full-time career in it. Some people just like picking up an instrument and playing songs. That's fine. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make an impact, and I'm trying to, you know, set a standard. This is the modern musician. Like, yes, I've overworked myself like crazy. I've put myself in impossible situations and gotten myself out of it purely because I work hard. Like, all the people who took, like, you know, all the Adderall addicted Grand Valley students and all the, you know, all the Western, like, I don't know, I didn't know the drug habits of Western, but I assume Adderall, maybe some amphetamines of other kinds. You know, people all are looking for a leg up. They don't want to just, like, you know, rely on caffeine. When they're too tired, they want something stronger. So these people who are like marathoning work and studying and all these things and practicing with the assistance of Adderall, like, I'm competing against those people who have a completely unrealistic and plan for their future. Eventually, your body is going to reject it, or you're going to take too much of it, and because your body's used to it, it's going to be a bad time. So when I say I got to go to work, that means I got to go to work on all aspects of who I am. Me as a person, me as a, you know, a representation of the Michigan music industry, me as a, you know, a performer, a person who does some of the business end, a person who collaborates. I need to be mindful of the time that I give, the time to others, and the time that I give to myself. I started up massages. I've mentioned I had a massage. I have another one scheduled for this week. I also have another float session. You know, I'm basically investing money for 2 massages and 1 float session per month. And it's a little scary because that forces my other habits to have to change. The habits of like spending too much money eating out or spending, buying something on an impulse and realizing, oh, wait, I don't have, like, I spent, $60 on this thing, but I really needed that for gas. And now I got to make up the difference for rent, I'm essentially planning on my 30s. Like, how do I be a better person in my 30s? So it's, I want to go back to the level of like getting things done, feeling like every day I've accomplished something. But I also want to give myself those moments to just do nothing, to play video games that, frankly, at this point, video games are just pure inspiration. Like, it's not just me wasting time, not doing homework in elementary school anymore. It's like, it's something that's like, this is cool, this is fun, I like the mechanics, or I like the gameplay loop, or I like, the story. Like, just, it's like picking up a good book, but it's interactive. And in some cases, you get to choose how elements of the story play out, and it's just fun. And, making more time for that, making more time for walks, more time with friends, more time to just be a human being instead of this like weird, this anomaly not an anomaly, but like, the people who look at me and they're like, oh, wow, you're amazing at piano. I was like, thanks. Been playing for 20 years. Like, a lot of people would be amazing at piano if they also played for 20 years. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of y'all who give compliments. I learn every day how to take a compliment. Sometimes I don't know what to say, and sometimes I'm just like, thanks. And if I seem like I'm dismissive, I don't mean to be. I don't go like, okay, thanks, bye. I just, there's a point where I'm like, hey, thanks. I really don't know what to say, because because sometimes people, they give these very passionate, experiences about seeing a concert, and you don't want to be like, oh, thanks, man. An average answer, because they're saying like this was mind bending. This changed my life. And for me, it's like, yeah, it did too. Like, finding bandmates and stuff, changed the trajectory of what I was working on and what I'm doing. And it's fun, but I don't ever want to seem like that dude who's just like, gets a compliment and is like, thank you. Yes. In fact, you could go one step further and say I'm like Zeus. I'm the god of, well, he wasn't the god of music. Who's the god of music? Leave it in the comments. Who's the god of music in Greek mythology? But we're getting close to the allotted time that I have before I talk with someone from my Life is a Piano podcast, which you can go and support along with Mitten Backstage and this podcast over on Patreon. There are other types of videos that will be coming out throughout the rest of the year, because that's something I want to get better at, is creating stuff with video, and that's the standard now. There's so many people who supplement their income or offset work by building audio and video editing skills. So that's something I'm continuing to develop, so I can create more things that aren't just static camera angles in my office with audio video sync. You've learned the secrets, folks. Although this one I'll have the one edit, which is fun. I don't think I've ever done that. So I'll have to cite a thing and all that, This is all behind the scenes right now. It's also the outro. Thanks for listening. Thanks for indulging some time to listen to this podcast. If you enjoy it, again, Patreon, or you can simply share it with your friends, follow it, all that good stuff. Follow all my socials. Tell people what I'm up to. Because, you can't build a city without a community. I don't even know if I'm trying to build a city, but they're in this metaphor. But Also, for those of you who will listen to this, the next shows that I have coming up will be this Friday at the Smiling Acres Music Festival. So you can get your tickets. Go to Smiling Acres Music Festival on Facebook. There's an event page, and it's got the link to the website where you can find everything. You can see Earth Radio there, along with a bunch of other Michigan bands. And I don't know if I'm sitting in with Mark Lavengood's band, but we'll see, because it depends on the day. And yeah, hope you are all feeling good, ready for more summer fun, and can't wait to share more about this reemergence of the music industry with you all as things materialize. So go out there, enjoy some music, enjoy the weather, go down to the lake. You know, you've been working hard. Go to the lake. It's Sunday. You know, you just listen to this podcast. Maybe you're in the car. Go somewhere. And we'll see you next time for more stuff, more podcasts.